Welcome to Aligning on My Time, the podcast for women who are done shrinking, done people pleasing, and done repeating the cycles that kept their mothers and grandmothers stuck. I'm Naomi Sarah, and I help you break generational patterns, reclaim your voice, and become who you were always meant to be. This is your permission slip to choose yourself. Before we dive in, if you're listening to this and feeling the pull to make 2026 your year, I want to invite you into the initiation. It's my 3-month container designed to help you start the new year with a clear, sturdy foundation. So no more carrying old patterns into a new year. This is 3 months to break your first major cycle and step into 2026 as the woman you're meant to be. I also have the Becoming for deeper 6-month work and the Cycle Breaker community for ongoing support. There is no better time than right now. Details are in the show notes. Now let's get into today's episode. Today's guest is Agne from the Wild Medeina, a guide who helps women shed their conditioning and step into who they truly are. We met on Threads, and honestly, the synchronicities have been wild ever since. Agne's story is one a lot of us actually recognize. Saturn return hits, life crumbles, human design enters the picture, and suddenly everything you thought you knew gets flipped upside down. She's a manifesting generator who went from hustling and hyper masculine energy to finally learning how to rest, receive, and let someone else hold space for her too. In this conversation, we're talking about Saturn returns, human design permission slips, and divine feminine and masculine energy, deconditioning from hyper independence, and why you need to stop rushing your healing journey. Let's begin. Welcome back to Aligning on My Time. My name is Naomi Sarah, and I have the pleasure of having Agne here from the Wild Medeina. Yeah, we're just gonna dive in, see what's live. There's been a lot going on in both of our lives recently, so we found each other on Threads and have been kind of jamming ever since. So welcome, Agne. Would you like to share a bit more about yourself? And yeah, how did you start in your healing journey and everything like that?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, first of all. Thank you. And thank you for Naomi's listeners to listening to this chat. A little bit about me. I feel like my healing journey was ups and downs, I feel like as everyone's. And my spiritual journey definitely started just around my Saturn returns. I know that me and you talked about our Saturn returns. And so it was it 2.5, 3 years ago now. I just basically started questioning the life meaning, the life ethos, why are we here? How do we live as humans? And what's the purpose with everything? So it just kind of like in my darkest time, I found the human design, I found spirituality, I found divine femininity, I found the wild woman archetype, and it just never left. It just never left. And I feel like, during this journey, kind of it was like one thing after another, like, oh, you're learning this and then you're integrating this, and every kind of life challenge that you're taking on, you started looking at it from a different lens. Okay, like what it's highlighting, what is the universe trying to teach me, and all these things. So this is how my Wild Medeina business was born, to try to help women that are going through similar things. So that's like very briefly where I am with it.
It's so funny because it seems like for a lot of us, especially in this past few years, it's a Saturn return and it moves into human design, and then everything else just kind of spawns out of that. So I'd love to hear even more about your human design, and what did that show you was already true, or like did you have any realizations that like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense, or what, I've always felt so much resistance to that. How was that process for you?
So I feel like for me, the human design reading was permission slip. I feel like well, first of all, actually, I want to shout out Becky, the humble warrior, because I went to her to get human designs, and she's an amazing woman. She's an amazing woman. Yeah, so I feel like because of her, I'm where I am now. So she deserves the praise. And then, so the whole human design, yeah, it's giving me the permission slip, because I always knew that I'm a bit different, that I'm here to, be the rebel, be the leader, be like the little bit of an odd one here and there. But with my conditioning, how I was brought up and where I was growing up, I didn't allow that to come to the world. And when I got the human design reading, so again, it was really funny. I feel like my world was crumbling down. And then randomly on Instagram, I found this woman doing human design in my area. And I was like, okay, this is a sign. And I didn't know much about human design. I've heard of it here and there, and I knew like from like a quick quiz online. I knew that I was a manifest generator, and like I Googled a little bit of what it means, but I didn't know much about it. So I went on to have readings with her. I think I had 6 readings, or was it? Yeah, I think she was offering like a package of basically, so I did that, and it just confirmed everything for me. It confirmed that I'm here to be the odd one out. I'm here to be the leader. I'm here to help women find, well, people find their voice. I'm here to show the differences of opinion, different way of being, different way of being, different way of just going against the flow, like what it means to be going against the flow. And when she was speaking, like in all of these all of these recordings, I was like, whoa, like you're just confirming everything. This is actually scary how accurate it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's giving me the permission slip. It's giving me the permission slip to be who I am now. Because without the human design, I wouldn't be here. She's giving me the permission to just, found my business, to share my voice, and to know that the fact that I'm sharing my voice and I'm empowering other women to share their voice, this is what I have to do. So I just, yeah, it's the best thing ever. I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, even for myself, it was the same thing. Like, I was almost at the end of my Saturn return, and it was like my 30th birthday. I decided to do something for myself because it was my first birthday, like as a single woman, first time in my adult life. And I was like, who am I? What do I want to do? Like, what do I even like? So I was just trying out all these things. And in this massage, my massage therapist was a Reiki healer. She was like doing all these things. And that massage was a blend of all of these different modalities. And so she was like, have you ever heard of human design? And I was like, no, what is that? And she's like, well, it's basically your soul's blueprint. And I can just feel off of your aura that I feel like you're a reflector. And so I ended up being a manifester. But for those of you who are like pretty aware of human design, you can have your design and your personality, I believe. And like my personality chart was reflector, but my design chart is projector. But then, as you put them together to get your actual design, I'm a manifester. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I went home, I looked more into it, and I was like, wow, like this confirms how I feel inside, but it's not who I have been
Yeah.
presenting as at all. So for me, I had so much like deconditioning to do, so much where I was stuck in the people pleaser mode and just trying to make sure I didn't ruffle any feathers, because I kind of sensed
Yeah.
that people, like sometimes I would say things and people wouldn't get it, or, I would say things and it wasn't received well. So I just learned to just be quiet and just keep my opinions to myself. And so human design for me was, again, a huge permission slip that it's okay for me to share
Yes.
my voice. I'm actually here to like initiate and to share my opinions. And most of the time, people won't understand yet, but when they do, it'll make sense. So yeah, it's been a while now for me. So for you, you said it was about 3 years ago that you got into it.
So around 3 years ago, I think it was around like end of 22, I think. So it's like 2 to 3 years, yeah. And my Saturn returns
Mm-hmm.
finished at the beginning of this year. So like I'm very, very fresh out of this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And do you find that like it was really aligned with your chart, with your birth chart, and like where Saturn was? Did you find that that's really where all of the changes happened?
I feel like, well, I have 2 stories about this. One story is that um my I can't fully remember what this woman was saying, but she was saying that when I go through my Saturn returns, like my whole chart was lit up, and she was
Mm,
saying that this indicates that you will have a whole flip of life. Like she was saying that like everything in your life will change, like everything. And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, that's a bit scary. That's a bit scary." And she was like,
Yeah.
"Well, this is what's gonna happen." But back then I didn't know what it will look like. And like now, fast forward after the Saturn returns, everything changed. I'm with a different man. I live in a different place. I have a dog. I have my own business. I've quit my 9 to 5 job. Like everything is different. So that was potent. And another thing, what I was going to say about, I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, about the Saturn return. So it was really funny because when we were, so like me and my current partner, we bought this house where we're living now, and I remember I was really like whole house buying process is quite difficult in the UK. And I'm sure it's everywhere. It's like, the paperwork, it takes forever and everything. And
Yeah.
I remember I was getting to my limits of like, I was saying to my partner, like, I can't do this. I said, we need, like, I just cannot do this. Like, this going on for so long. And I remember I've given him the deadline, and I was saying to him, look, if all of the lawyers are not getting their stuff sorted out, we're going to rent out an Airbnb and we're just going to wait there. But I said, I can't be doing what I'm doing, because by that, like, before we bought this house, I was living with my ex and he was living with his ex, because we were just dealing with the financial stuff. And I remember I given him the deadline, and I was saying to him, okay, if by that date we don't have the papers, like, we're going out to the Airbnb, which was like it would be a stupid financial decision. And he was like, okay, fair point. And he literally got the keys to the house the day before my Saturn returns ended. The day before. Wow. The day before. And I just, like, I just can't believe it. Like, you can't make these things up, because, like, what are the chances of everything going on for so long, and there was like hurdle after hurdle after challenge, that everything actually happened the day before my Saturn returns ended? Like, you can't make this up. You can't.
It's like one last gift, right? Like, quote unquote, from Saturn. Okay, you passed. Here's your new life.
Yeah. So I feel like talking about, like, I mean, I haven't talked about this specific thing with the house keys, like, anywhere online. You're the first one. Oh, but nice. I feel like talking about these things, it's just, hopefully this is a permission slip to everyone listening, that there's magic in the world, and it's up for you to find the magic. And I feel like human design is definitely magic.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I know after my Saturn return, it was kind of the same thing, where every single thing in my life was completely different. You know, I left a relationship after 11 years. I lived on my own for the first time. I made so many decisions for myself just because I wanted to, which was so foreign to me. And I mean, I can't lie, the whole time it was scary. You know, can I really do this? Is this going to work out? But you really just have to trust. And I find that Saturn gives you all of these challenges to see if you're going to choose yourself, or you're going to continue to, like, abandon yourself and choose others over yourself. And sometimes it's hard to do that after years and years, you know, of choosing others, and to get rid of that feeling of, am I doing something wrong? Am I a bad person? Are people still going to like me if I'm choosing myself? For me, it's a lot of the feelings of selfishness. My authority is the ego authority. So it's literally like, you're supposed to do what you desire, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. Like, even if you want like the most ridiculous thing, you doing that somehow is serving everyone around you. Perhaps it's permission slips. Perhaps it's just allowing spirit to move through you and experience life. But I find I've had the most resistance to that, the most conditioning in that area. And of course, right, it's like your authority, it's the most pure version of you. But, you know, years and years of conditioning makes it tough. So how did you find your deconditioning process? I'm sure, like, it's a lifelong thing, I say, because there's always going to be like deeper levels where we're still kind of in those old stories. But how did you find your deconditioning process?
A very good question, actually. Very good question. And because the thing is, like, I coach, well, I always used to say that I'm coaching people. Now I'm trying to choose the word, I guide people rather than coach, because I feel like guiding is much more aligned with what I'm doing. But it's funny, like, when I guide women to decondition themselves, they always say, like, oh, you know, kind of where you are in your journey, like, oh, you probably like mastered everything. And I was like, no. Every day I still get reminded that, like, I still have this conditioning. Oh, I still have this going on. So kind of just to, you know, jump to the story, saying that, like, I agree with you that it's a lifelong journey to completely get out of this conditioning. And it's funny because the conditioning happens in first, I don't know, 18 years of your life, first 20 years of your life, and then you're spending the whole of, I don't know, 80 years untangling it. So it's insane. I find that's insane. But my own journey of deconditioning, it's well, it's not rainbows and butterflies as they show on Instagram. I think we talked about this, that I was very high masculine. Like, I come from a family where, you know, my both of my parents were like, you need to work hard, you need to hustle all the time, you need to be very independent, you need to be very strong. So up until 2 years ago, I had no relationship with resting and divine femininity. I was like, what is this thing? So I'm still going through it. I'm still trying to tell myself that, look, it doesn't, you know, rest is important. Rest is just important as working hard and everything. And it's like I feel like every day, especially like especially running the business, right? When you're your own boss and you're creating your own rules and your own legacy out there, right? It's you're gonna get challenged in every possible conditioning that you have. Oh, you feel like, oh, you worked really hard for the launch. You want to rest now. Oh, you can't rest because your conditioning is telling you that you should be working 24/7. Or, you feel like like I'm now living with a very supportive partner, and I had to learn to ask for help. And he was saying to me, like, just ask for help, like, just ask for help. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I can actually ask you to help me with something? So that's, again, I know that we talked about this as well. It's like how every day you find something that you can keep unlearning and unlearning, and like there's like layers and layers of it. So I feel like it's been a journey, but I'm gonna sound very cliche now, but it is rewarding. Like it is rewarding. It's difficult, but it's very rewarding because now when I look back, like to the person who I was half a year ago, is not the same person as I'm now. And this is the beauty of growing. If you choose that path of growing, if you choose that path of deconditioning, you're going to become a beautiful soul being. Like it's going to be so, you're going to feel so liberated and so true to your calling that it's just, I feel like it's the most amazing thing that you can do for yourself as an act of self-love.
That's for me, that has been a tough part, was allowing that past version of me to separate, to die essentially, and to move into who you're becoming, not knowing what's going to be happening, but just trusting that, okay, I'm going to trust my authority. I'm going to move with what feels right in
Yeah.
my body and not let anyone else's opinions sway me. But that hyper independence piece, oh my gosh, that was so me as well. Just growing up, and I was the eldest child as well, first daughter. I have a younger brother, and he's about 6 years younger than me. So my parents are always working, and the responsibility was on me basically to
Yeah.
make sure he was okay, take care of him. Growing up, that's how I always felt. Even my parents, too. My dad was working a lot. My mom was a bit emotionally mature, I would say. If you've ever read that book, Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, I was like, oh, yeah, that's totally me.
So
You
the my
end up,
to read list.
yeah, you should. It's really good, but you end up being parentified. And as a child, it's like, okay, I guess I have to take care of everyone. I have to be responsible for everyone's emotions. And you're always hyper aware of what's going on. And as you
Yeah.
grow into an adult, that still sticks with you. And I found that I attracted people who leached off of that and really wanted to take everything from me. And then, you're left as a shell of a person. So much having to like be in control of everything, right? Just to feel like
Yeah.
your your life is making somewhat sense. So when I left that relationship, and I met my current partner, it's the same thing. It's like learning to accept help and even asking for help and not feeling like you have to do everything yourself or you have to do something to get that help, right? I was just sharing on threads the other day how in the very, very beginning of our relationship, he was living 4 hours away and I had to get my gallbladder removed. And so I was like, I should ask him because I don't think my brother can really, help me as much as I need. I had so much resistance around even just asking him to leave his town, come to stay with me for a bit, help me, and just support me when I'm in this vulnerable state, literally recovering from surgery. You can't do anything. I had to get my friend to write the text because I was like, out. I was like, he's gonna say
Oh
no.
my
Oh my
God.
gosh, what's gonna happen? And immediately he's like, of course, I'll be there for you. Like, anyway, I have to get there, I will be there. Why would I not be there? And it's always those moments where, you let someone surprise you and they do. And
Yes.
then you're like, oh, wait, I had no reason to be scared. Of course they would want to because that's the person I chose. I did all this work on myself to recognize the right people, and I'm able to
Yeah.
let go, remove the people who are not really aligned with me, and accept help, accept the right energies around me. It's so funny because it happens so often. We have all of these, I want to say like pieces of proof. That's not the right word, but all of these experiences that prove to you, okay, you can trust them. It's okay. They're going to be there for you. You don't have to do anything. You're okay. But, other situations will come up throughout life. And to me, I feel like it's testing you, although that's not
Yes.
a good way to say it, but it's like, are you sure? Are you sure you're really trusting. Can you really trust? Can you really receive? Because we have so much we want to give you, right? But the universe is like, are you gonna open up? Are you gonna create space? Are you gonna let go? So it's interesting. How do you find that? Does that show up in your life at all?
Yeah, like that's why I'm like nodding all the time that you're talking. Like yes, yes. See, the thing is like coming from like my personal life story and from personal stories that in my previous relationship, I was really because I'm the only child, right? So I was raised to be very independent, very, very like I had to like my parents were raising me, they were raising me in the right way because they wanted to make sure that I'm responsible for my own, which is fine, like that's a beautiful lesson. But I feel like I took it up a notch and I was like, I have to do everything. I have to just like, I feel like I was hoarding in a way all of the responsibilities and all of the different things. And then my ex-partner, he wasn't strong enough in that masculine sense to like hold my masculinity as well because like I was like supercharged high masculine. He didn't have it enough, right? And it's not to shame him or anything. It's just facts, right? So I feel like when we were in the relationship, he didn't know how to show up because I was like trying to do everything. And then one day I'll be like, "Oh, I'm so resentful of like doing everything." So then it's like, well, which way does it go? I started when I found divine femininity, I started questioning how dynamics work in a relationship. What's divine feminine, divine masculine? How can we show up in harmony? How can, what will happen if I'm not gonna take care of everything? What's gonna happen if I release control? And with the previous relationship, obviously, when I noticed that I released control, nothing was getting done. So that's a whole issue in itself. But in general, when I started releasing all of, okay, I don't actually have to hold everything. It's giving me the space to breathe. In my current relationship, I'm blessed enough that my current partner, he has a very healthy relationship with his masculine energy, like very healthy masculine. And because he's like, I wouldn't say healed, but he's just very content where he is with his healing journey and where he is. And because he can hold the space for me, the environment is supportive. That feels like I can actually soften. I feel like I can just like show up more of my feminine. I can show up more and be like, okay, I can actually be relaxed. I don't have to do everything myself. I don't have to, and I don't want this to sound like I'm saying rely on someone. It's not about relying on someone. It's about accepting that, you don't have to do it all. Like you can just choose yourself and you can choose yourself to just rest and just be. And so I feel like for me, like it's every day I'm still getting surprises of like okay like it's okay, like I need to stop. I don't have to do it all. It's okay. Or like like for example when I'm working on my business, my partner brings me coffee and he's like, I just want to support you, like you're growing your business, you're growing your empire. Like he's very supportive of that. And I'm like, oh, like I get so confused. I'm like, what do you mean you brought me coffee? Like why? And he's like, because I love you. I'm like, what is this thing? So I feel like I'm the same as you. I feel like every day I'm like, it's like peeling another layer of the onion, like peeling another layer of the conditioning. Oh, okay, like it's okay to soften, it's okay to express my femininity of like, I can be vulnerable, I can be, all over the place, I can be emotional, and knowing that my partner will hold a space. And again, this is one of the big things that I talk about on my socials and in my coaching. The first thing in your transformational journey is your environment. You need to make sure that your environment supports the new version of you. Because when I was going through my Saturn returns, my environment, my home life and my work life wasn't supporting my new identity, my new shell that I was creating. So yeah, I feel like I kind of went off the tangent here, but that's okay.
No, it's perfect. An environment is honestly like such a reflection of what's going on inside
Yes.
of you. So if you're shifting, if you're moving, there's going to be so much like dissonance between the two. And it's going to be very easy to get pulled back into what used to be comfortable and what was. But when you're really not aligned with that anymore, when it's like dying, you just, your insides feel like, I can't do this. You feel like you're suffocating. So it's so
Yeah.
interesting how they do say that. It's like your environment is a reflection of whatever's going on inside of you. And yeah, when I used to move around a lot, like I would just carry everything with me, all the stuff I didn't need anymore, like things from childhood. And as I was going through my healing journey, I was like realizing that like I do have a lot of baggage. I do have a lot of things that I hold on to and I keep like just in case, like for safety, I guess.
Yes.
But it's okay to let them go as well and just like I'll always keep the memory, but I don't need to keep the thing. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's the thing that I always say, that with the like the fact that we have the conditioning, right? It's our safety mechanism in a way, because we managed to get to where we are now with that baggage, right? And it was keeping us safe because it's all about the survival instinct and survival mechanism. So it was keeping us safe and it got us to here. So of course, when we're trying to get rid of it and try to rewire the brain that we're actually it's safe now, like this new way of being existing is safe, then our nervous system is like, what do you mean? I've been doing this for 20 years. Don't tell me off.
exactly. It's such a
Yeah.
shock, but sometimes that's how life is, especially with your Saturn return. It's like everything just happens. And then you're just like,
Yes.
okay, what am I going to do? Like, how can I move through this? Realistically, you have no other choice, right? It's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to just stay in it and continue to like shrink and give yourself
Yes.
away? Or are you going to move into what you know you want to do, what your heart is calling you to do? And yeah, it takes some courage, takes some faith, but it's like showing you what's really possible, what you really signed up to do in this lifetime. And
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
scary. There's no rule book,
I wish we
I
would have a rule book. As a recovering type A
yeah,
person, I wish we would have a rule book.
yeah. I remember just like going so deep into human design and astrology and gene keys because I was like, I need to understand why this happened to me, but kept going to all these different people trying to find an answer. But realistically, the answer I would always get is that you already know, like everything you know, everything that's in your heart. Yeah, that's it. You don't need anyone else to tell you. You just need to believe yourself and trust yourself enough to move in
Yeah.
that direction.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Just trust yourself. Just trust yourself.
Oh my goodness. I remember I used to get so many tarot readings and all this stuff specifically for career because I do have a full-time like day job 9 to 5 and I'm building my coaching on the side. And I knew like after I went through everything and my healing started that this is actually what I'm meant to do as well, guide women into finding their voices again, same kind of thing, and just owning their power and not letting these relationships shrink them and erase them. I just needed so much confirmation. I would go and do these readings, like astrology readings for career specifically. And I'm like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, but is it every single one? Is like, you already know. Like, yes, that's what you're supposed to do. Everything was always firmed. At some point, you just have to trust yourself and trust
Yeah.
that, yeah, this is actually it. I'm not crazy. And because, I don't see anyone else doing it, doesn't mean that it's not going to work for me. Maybe I'm the first one, right? And, maybe you're the one who's supposed to lead others into it and show them that you actually don't have to live like this. You're in control of your life. You are creating it. As much as we rely on the universe to guide us as well, realistically, we have our say. We decide what we do, and it's in these moments that really cement where we're going. So,
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I feel like I didn't have a lot of readings like regarding all of this. I just had that one, that package about the human
yeah,
design, and I feel like it just confirmed everything that, again, we're coming back to how the conversation started. It confirmed everything that I knew, but I was scared to admit it, or I was scared to follow it maybe. And
mhm,
even when I got the confirmation, I was still, well, how am I supposed to do it? Like how am I supposed to do it?
yeah, that,
Yeah,
that
and yeah, so
that's
it's just
how.
yeah, so I feel like it's, we just have to figure out as we go along, and it's scary. Like it's scary and it's so uncertain, but you have to trust and surrender. Like the words for me for this year, it's trust and surrender. Like the words and the life lessons that I keep coming through is trust and surrender, trust and surrender. And it's I feel like it's hard. It's definitely hard, but that's the way it is. Like sometimes you're working towards your goals, or building your business, but you can do all the things that you're doing, but it's all about, when the universe is gonna connect all the dots and
Mhm.
everything. So it's all about that.
That trust piece is so, oh, when I was starting out, this was back in like 2022, right? And I would just look around and see all these people starting their businesses and it was just taking off. And I was like, why is it not working for me? Like, what is the disconnect? But again, it's that piece of just like trusting that, okay, this just isn't the time for you. creating your foundation, keep building and really find your space, find exactly what it is that you're here to say and find your way to say it. Be your own guide so that when
Yes.
the time comes when okay, it's your time, get ready. You're not going to be like, "Oh, but I need more time." Like I've always found that people come into your life exactly when you need them. Things happen in a way that's you can't prepare for. And as
Yeah.
long as you are trusting your decisions and like making them in a way that is true for you and aligned with what you're meant to do, or you are doing these things because you feel like it's right and it's true for you, then what you need always shows up. Even if it feels like it's not on our time. Like I remember
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
why I named this podcast that, because I was like, okay, everything is going to align like in my perfect time. I can't rush it, because the more you rush it, the more you push it away. I can't just like do nothing and hope that it comes to me. I just have to keep moving in my own way, align to my own authority and what feels true. Maybe like, do you have any advice for anyone who's in that like sticky place right now where they feel like, oh, like, why is it not working? What can I do? What should I do more of? What should I do less of? What would you say to someone?
I mean, I feel like it's a very good question because I remember I was reflecting on something similar like this, and I was thinking like what advice I would have given myself then.
Mhm.
And the thing is though, I feel like there's different scenarios and different advices. So like again, basing it on my story, right? Because I can only speak about my story and what worked for me or what didn't work for me. When I was like in the midst of the actual old identity crumbling, and I'm sure everyone knows this phase where, your old identity is crumbling, you don't know what you stand for anymore, you don't know your values, you don't really know yourself, but the new version of you still hasn't emerged, right? And when I was in that, like, oh, this is crumbling, but I'm not fully sure I know what I am now, I was rushing the process. I was rushing. I want to figure it out. I want to be back on my feet. Like, naturally, I'm a very driven person. So I was like, I need to know. I need to know. It needs to happen now, now, now. And I wasn't allowing myself to just be in that dirt of like, in that, like, I don't know, fertile ground of earth. And like, as it sounds very cheesy and cliche and poetic, but like, again, like the autumn, when we have the autumn, right? The leaves go on the
Yeah.
floor and everything goes to rot and everything like enriches the soil. Like you need to allow yourself to be in that space. And I feel like I wasn't allowing myself to do that. I was pushing and pushing. And then, as you said, exactly the same words, when you keep pushing yourself when it's not the time, it's not going to happen. And, we have the saying where like you're just fighting with the windmills. It's like, it's not, you just give yourself some grace where you are now. Because if you're going to keep pushing and pushing, it's not going to happen. And, for listeners who are maybe a little bit pessimistic about this, I'm not trying to say that when your life is getting to shit, just sit and do nothing. This is not my advice. My advice is to recognize that, okay, this is a big change, a big transformation. And, check with your, mental health, check with your energy levels, check where you are. And if you are able to just give yourself some space, and if you're able to give yourself some time and space to just be, shed, grieve these emotions, then naturally the time will come. Like again, stars will align, go and get your tarot reading or astrology reading or human design reading. You will see that the stars will align when naturally things will start picking up. So I feel like my biggest advice is, and again, like I wish I've known this, is don't rush things. Like just let them grow naturally and let them just, emerge as they are. Because I'm a big believer, again, like with my conditioning, that you need to work hard to make things like visible. And with, again, mixing this with the manifestation, because, I feel like everyone was into manifestation at one point. Like, it was a whole trend. There's a balance between you're sitting at home doing your affirmations, doing your visualizations, and it's good and great, right? But you can't, like, sometimes there's a balance, right? Between you're wishing your red Ferrari and a million in your bank account, and then actually doing some steps to get these things, and then also honoring where you are. So I feel like people who are going through stuff, just honor where you are. Make sure that you have the support bubble around you, and just go with the flow. Because again, like both me and you, like, write our stories, we were rushing through things and getting frustrated, but at the end of the day, what we had to do, wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like live, honestly.
Yeah.
But that year I took 2022, I was rushing so much. I, joined all of these courses, business masterminds, and did all this stuff and all these ceremonies. And, at the end of the year, I was like, but I'm still like here. And that was the same year that I met my partner, October 2022. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to take it easy. Let me just, build this relationship, start this out, see how it's feeling, and then also allow for myself to receive, allow for me to, get into a relationship in a way that feels right and feels good and allows me to just be me all the time. And then
Yeah.
through that year, that first year, was so much just like integration and just living and feeling and allowing these dynamics to pop up, right? Of like letting go of the hyper independence and letting someone take care of you and just being with someone and
Yeah.
not feeling like you have to wear the mask. And then it goes both ways, right? Like when you show up in that way, it invites your partner to do the same. Yeah, 2023 was all just like, okay, I'm just going to live, I'm just going to experience, I'm just going to like do and be and just see what happens. And that integration is so key because when we're rushing,
Yes.
it's like, okay, I learned it, I know it in my head, but your body doesn't know it yet. That somatic piece is so key and just like feeling safe, regulating your nervous system, just even feeling like you deserve these things. That in itself is a life changer. Another thing that I found
Yes.
was missing in all the manifestation stuff that I saw. I was like, what? How are they telling people that all they have to do is like believe it and then do it? But like, you don't feel like it's true. You don't feel like you believe it. So how is it ever going to come to you if you don't think that it can really happen? So I feel like that was such like a powerful conversation. And I'm sure the listeners, like whoever joined today, it's I'm sure it's aligned in everything that they needed because I feel like we just touched on so many different things. Like from the
Yeah.
beginning of your healing journey to just to being and owning where you are and then like, the integration pieces. So yeah, do you have like just any last words for anyone listening? What do you have going on these days?
So yeah, I mean, thank you for the conversation because I feel like we covered so many different things, but all of them are aligned as they are, aren't they? Yeah, so it was a pleasure to talk to you. And so in terms of me, I have so many things going on. That's the beauty of being a manifest generator. I have like 20 million projects going on. So I think, well, I don't even know. Okay, I'm gonna start from like the most exciting thing. So as of today, when we're recording this podcast episode, I've actually submitted my own journal to Amazon to be published. I'm so proud of it. So proud of it. Yeah, so I feel like that's, keep an eye on that. It should be, I'm not sure when it's going to be out because I'm still trying to figure out when it's going to be approved and I'm waiting for the copy. But, if it's going to be out by the time this thing is out, I will make sure some links are there. And then, and then I co-written a mini book. I don't want to call it a whole book because I feel like it doesn't have the full, it's not like 300 pages or anything, with another girl that I've met online actually about the dark phases, about the dark phase in her life. So again, like I feel like, I have something written there and there. So I'm super like my whole soul went into these things to write like this book. Yeah, so again, this is out there. And then the most thing that I'm very passionate about, and it just means a lot to me when I work with people one-on-one, because I feel like you can tailor the advice and you can hold their hand when they're going through this. And I mean, I love doing my workshops and my project and my not project, sorry, my what's the word I'm looking for, brain courses, that's the word. Can't speak. Yeah, like courses, because it's like, it's, you can have a lot of people on there and they all gain different things, but the most thing that I'm most passionate about is working one-on-one with people, because you can tailor the advice. You can actually see what they're going through, and sometimes advice that works for me can't work for you, or the other way around. So I have a few spots available for that. So yeah, you can find me on all of the, I'm sure you have all the links below, and people can find me on my Instagram, which they can just DM me and we can chat about life. And they can find me on my website, which is the same as my Instagram handle, the Wild Medeina. And yeah, so just, all the beautiful one-on-one work where we can just alchemize all your pain into something beautiful. Yeah, just, I don't know, I love working with women who are who, who want to change and who are, want to change, but they're scared of that change. They're scared of making that step, that leap. And again, for someone, it could be the leap. For someone, it can be a very small step. And I love, love, love holding space for women who are doing similar things as I went through because, I personally know what it feels like. So holding the space for them means so, 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 so special for me. So yeah, yeah, find me if you need some guidance and some coaching. I'm here for you.
Yes, I've written down in the show notes. It was awesome talking with you today. I absolutely love just like chatting with you and just, seeing how much we have in common and our similarities, our synchronicities. So, yeah, thank you
Yeah.
again for joining the podcast today. And I wish you all the best. And yeah,
Thank you,
so
thank you, thank you.
catch you next time.
Bye.